Bill Swift from Swift Canoe and Kayak, and
Jeremy Vore from RedLeaf Designs.
check this beautiful cover out on this gorgeous canoe. This is a 3-piece expedition spray cover.
It is indeed, with a few special features thrown in for the new owner who's going to be racing this in the Yukon Quest this June.
And let's show you how quickly Jeremy installed this.
Bill, I'm exhausted. That was a lot of work.
That was
moving
quick.
that fast.
Holy
Man,
smokes.
let me tell you, it takes a lot of calories. No, it takes about an hour to install a cover like this, at least for me once I'm practiced. If a customer was doing it, figure an hour and a half or 2 hours.
Now, Jeremy, I'm sure you hear this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
People are afraid to drill holes in their own boat.
They sure are. They sure are. I don't know if you saw in that video because it was so fast. We don't ask you to measure. You don't have to spend hours getting down to the millimeter. We actually have a really simple method that's on our website. It's also in the written instructions, which I can show you in a minute. But you take some pieces of duct tape and you put those pieces of duct tape on the side of the boat, and then you press the snaps into the duct tape and it tells you exactly where to drill. So you'll see a perfect circle. You drill in the middle of that circle. Everything's fine. So it's pretty simple.
And how many of these have you made roughly over the years?
Made, we're over 350 or 400. We've made quite a few. And the majority of those customers install these themselves. We don't do it for them.
Beautiful.
So, yeah. Yep.
So let's talk about the cover itself. Do you want
Sure.
to just go over the features sort of from head to tail on it?
Sure, we can zip through it pretty quickly. So with this deck, we always install with snaps, and that's because there is a full spray tunnel in the center of the deck, and we don't want to risk tipping over and have Velcro rip off the boat. So these snaps ensure that you're not going to accidentally end up swimming with 16 feet of fabric wrapped around you. This we call our scramble handle. It's not really meant for portaging or carrying the boat. It is just meant for a quick and easy way to grab the boat and drag it up on the beach or drag it up on shore. If you happen to be swimming, you can grab your boat. So we call it a scramble handle. This is a bungee cord that you can use to hold your bow painter line. And on this boat, there's no external spot to attach a painter line, so it would tie to the thwart inside the boat. And that painter line can come out of this hole and get coiled right here.
Okay.
So that's the purpose there. All of this bungee is for your spare paddle. So your spare paddle would slide underneath here. That would be where the blade would go. And then this would hold your paddle shaft, right? And then when you want to release it and get your paddle, you just pull that and it releases. I typically keep my spare on the rear deck, and I use this to park my active paddle if I'm portaging or otherwise need to do some chores. So that's the deal there. These D-rings are for a map case, if you happen to want a map case. This particular paddler has the assist bar.
This is super cool what you did here.
Thank you. And this isn't a normal feature, so if you want this, let us know and we can add it on. But he has an assist bar under here, and he may have his GPS mounted. So he wants to be able to access that, so you can pop open that flap, fold this back, and he can still see his GPS mounted on his
I love that you put the
Velcro
bar too to hold it right.
Yeah, I was imagining it just flapping constantly in the wind, so we just added some Velcro there so it flips over. You'll notice that this is a 3-piece deck, so this is one of the seams. The other seam is here. A lot of people with a solo boat will run with the bow and the stern sections and no center section if the weather is nice. On a tandem, it would be the opposite. People run with the center section without the bow and the stern section, so you can get rid of the cockpit sections if you want.
Do you try to get the places where they split? Do you try to do that about where the thwarts are?
We generally do. It just helps, support everything when you're only using the end pieces. It just keeps the edge of the fabric from sagging. So we typically try to do that. Sometimes the thwart positions are so odd that we can't always make that work efficiently. But typically, yeah, they land right there on the thwarts. So, and they do on this boat. They're exactly where the thwarts are. So this is our spray tunnel. And the tunnel has a Velcro placket down the front. So if you want to get out, all you have to do is grab this red handle and pull, and now you can wet exit out of the boat. This would always, and this is a really important point, this would always go on top of everything else you're wearing. This never goes under your rain jacket. It never goes under your life jacket. This should be on top of everything, so you can rip this and get out. And you can tighten it with this draw cord so that it stays. So there's that. You can also rip it open, roll it up, and stow it with these cords. There are 4 of these cords, so these cords could stow it for you. So if you want to paddle without this up around your body and you just want it stowed around the edge, you can do that as well.
Yeah, and if you start out and it's nice out, but the weather's forecasted to get A little bit crazy.
Yep, then you can start with it stowed and always release it later. Some people will also actually unsnap the center section of the deck and break this piece of Velcro
And roll
this forward and just keep it tucked up here.
Yeah.
And you can actually unroll that, stick your body through this hole, seal it behind you, and snap it all together while you're on the water. So people do that as well.
So let's talk quickly. You went over this with me.
Yeah.
The importance for somebody to learn to do a wet exit.
Yeah, I come from a sea kayaking background, so we constantly practice capsizing. We constantly practice self-rescues. I can't fathom going out and paddling in this boat with this spray deck and not practicing in calm, controlled conditions first, capsizing and getting out. So we provide instructions with the boats or with the covers. We go over in detail how important it is to do that. If you're afraid to try that on your own, find a local instructor, find a trusted friend who's a skilled paddler. Practice wet exits before you commit to being in something like this. It's really important.
In adverse conditions.
Especially in adverse conditions. Ideally, you're going to practice in the conditions in which you paddle. So if you plan on taking this in whitewater, you should be practicing wet exiting in whitewater. So, yeah, there's your PSA for the day.
Nice.
So the other thing about these spray decks is they have some pockets sewn into them. You can see there's a pocket there and there's a pocket there, and it comes with these plastic battens so that when you are using it, if you put those plastic battens in, it keeps the section over your knees arched, and it does two different things. It stops it from rubbing on your knees, but it also sheds water really cleanly. So.
Beautiful.
So that's basically
the
it.
material.
Yes. Yeah. This material is Aqualon Edge. So it's actually an outdoor performance boat cover material made for storage. It is a polyester backing. It's white. Actually, here, I've got a scrap in here. It's white and soft on the backside, so it's not going to abrade or damage your boat. It has a vinyl coating that's UV rated on the exterior. And it's actually rated for 10 years. They warranty this for 10 years against UV damage. So you know that this is not going to sit outdoors for 10 years, and it's not going to fade. We've had people paddle the entire Mississippi River and they finish, and that part of the deck looks like it's still new. Sometimes the nylon fades a little bit, but yeah, this fabric is a really durable, fantastic fabric.
And you throw a piece in the cutout for everyone in case they need a little repair over
Exactly.
time.
If you need scrap, you can use this to repair your boat. And the other nice thing about this being vinyl on the outside, most fabrics have a urethane coating on the inside, and the outside of the fabric is nylon or polyester. And so eventually that nylon or polyester will wet out and get soaked. And the inside is what stops the water from coming all the way through. This vinyl being on the outside of the polyester stops the polyester from ever getting wet. So this deck also will not gain weight as it gets wet. So that's another bonus.
It's worth it to have the nice materials, like the Swift boat is made with nice materials.
Yep, exactly.
You want your cover.
This boat is filled with spectacular materials, no question. The other nice thing is you can just use a vinyl repair tape to fix any tears or rips that might happen in it. So you can just use vinyl repair tape.
Do people need to coat it, or like, let's say they're in salt water for a while, wash it off?
Just rinse it off when you're done and you're set. So
yeah,
that's all there is to it. And then the stern section is exactly the same as the bow section, so there are no other features on the stern that we didn't already go over. But yeah, we're really happy with them. Our customers seem to be really happy with them, and they're a fantastic addition to a boat like this that's going to go on grand adventures.
I'm envious of Brad.
Me too.
Doing the Yukon River Quest with this, what a machine.
Yep. I completely agree. Steve Landick, my friend, and I tried to do the Yukon River Quest 3 years in a row, and for a variety of reasons, between COVID and injuries, it didn't work out. So I'm extremely envious of Brad. Yeah.
Brad's got a nice toy to use.
He does. So a nice weapon for the race. Absolutely.
So let's show the folks the innards too of the outfitting you've done for this.
Sounds good. Let's do it.
All right. Jeremy, that Expedition spray deck is so cool.
Thank you. We're pretty happy. So, and it's amazing on the Swift 16.8. Cruiser 16.8, just a great accessory.
What you have available to put on the inside that Brad ordered for this boat is super cool, though, and let's go over it with everyone.
Sure, I'd love to. And we've only installed one of the items that he's purchased, but we make a number of different things that you can put into the boat to accentuate your experience, let's say it that way. This is what we call a paddle pocket, and it's just a pocket that the blade of your paddle can slide into, and it attaches with adhesive Velcro, and this would just get stuck to the side of the boat here so that you could slip your paddle blade in, and the paddle shaft would come back to this thing, which we call a tether tab, and it would wrap around the paddle shaft to keep it captive, and when you want to release it, you just tug on the tape, and it opens up.
My buddy Ted Scott got those, and
Oh,
he
yeah.
loves them.
Yeah, and they can be used for fishing rods, all sorts of things. Another place people use them is on the end of the boat, and they would keep a bow or a stern painter line here.
Yeah.
So you can use it for that as well. Yeah, they're kind of multi-purpose. They work out really well. As we cruise back, Brad is going to be racing in a race that's going to require he go about 20 hours before he can resupply. So he's installed some of our large gunnel bags. These mount under the gunnels. They use adhesive snaps and adhesive Velcro, and they just have a double zipper. They hold about 3 liters worth of gear. It also means you could put hydration bladders in these, which I think he may do with that second set that's back here by the seat. But these are large enough they can hold med kits, sunscreen, rain jackets, all sorts of things. They're very easy to install, and we also make them in a smaller size if you don't need 3 liters. So these are pretty big. But so we installed this first set. He's going to decide where he wants that second set.
So why don't you tell the folks quickly how you put them on?
Sure.
This is the same bag right here.
Yep, exact same bag. So we just use Velcro brand with 3M acrylic adhesive on the back of the adhesive Velcro. And the adhesive part is the loop part. So what's left in your boat when you take it out is the soft side, not the hook side. And then these are called SNAD adhesive snaps. And those also attached with VHB adhesive from 3M. And you just prep the inside of the boat and stick it to the boat. And that's basically it. You can just take them in and out at will. You can even buy extra adhesive kits, and you can put it in multiple boats so you can move the bags from boat to boat to boat.
I love the look of the material on here, Jeremy.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's called a grid stop, but it's a hexagonal grid stop. And the material itself is a saturation dyed polyester. And we go with polyester because unlike nylon, polyester doesn't shrink and expand when it gets wet and then dries out. And saturation dyed also means that the fiber is black all the way through the fiber. It's not just the outside of the fiber that was dyed. So they really don't fade, and they work out really well.
Yeah, and Brad is going to decide where he wants the second set before
Correct.
he puts them in.
Yep.
This is so cool. You've got to tell the folks about this.
Thank you. This is what we call, it's 2 different products here. We have our daisy chains, which we make. There are other people that make daisy chains too. But we also make this cargo ladder, which if these daisy chains were attached to the boat with, we use HH66 adhesive, but you can use Vinabond or there's a Vinatech 2000, I think, is another adhesive you can use. So you just stick those to the boat with those adhesives, and then this cargo ladder clips to the daisy chains, and you have a quick release buckle in the center of the cargo ladder, and it's a way that you can tighten down this webbing ladder to hold your gear in the boat. So if you capsize, you're not going to yard sail. Unlike gear that's attached to the thwart, when you capsize, it's not going to fall out of the boat and then get tangled around everything. It also helps keep it from shifting around as you're going through rapids.
Well, and also I know, like, anytime I race, if you hear something behind you moving around in the boat, it drives you crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they have something just cinched down tight.
Yep, just holds it there. And in this particular boat, when he's not using these, he can just take his cargo ladders and put them right there in those end hatches through those fantastic ports that you put into his float tanks. So it works out really well. It's a good way to keep your gear secure while you're paddling.
I'm getting psyched for the summer, and I'm more and more envious of Brad now.
I know, right? I'm going to be keeping a close eye on his tracker while he's racing for sure. So
the Yukon Quest does that. They have a tracking system,
They do.
so people can follow it. So folks that want to follow Brad this summer,
no pressure, Brad.
excellent. Well, Jeremy, this is a beautiful boat, so thank you for bringing all this outfitting up in your company, RedLeaf Designs.
Yep. We're based in Marquette, Michigan, and it is an absolute pleasure to get to put so much of our gear on such beautiful Swift boats. So thank you for having us.
And I find you're much like our company. Like, we're a small family business.
Yeah.
Yourself, Cassandra.
Yep, our 2 kiddos. We have a 17-year-old and a 13-year-old that help out in the shop. In fact, our 17-year-old did a lot of the sewing on these gunnel bags. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Wonderful. Well, I think we definitely need
2 thumbs up.
Cruiser 16.8, RedLeaf Outfitting, the Yukon Quest this summer.
Absolutely.
Cheers.